Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening around the world. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Blackjack. Today, as always, I'll be doing a YouTube comment section deck tech for you guys. If you're interested in having me put a deck together for you or help you tweak a list you're trying to work on, I'm looking for any of the 5 metrics in the comment section. A bracket, a budget, a theme, a commander, and any pet cards you might have. Today, we have a request from the user mcgoob, requesting Eddie Brock Venom Lethal Protector bracket 2/3 with other symbiotes, villains, and lots of flavor. So, I built it around Venom. I will note before I start the video, Eddie Brock I think is actually a very, very interesting way to build this deck towards CMC 1 creatures. I think could actually pan out to be really, really cool if you put some work into it. But in order to actually get the flavor that mcgoob was looking for, I had to build towards Venom Lethal Protector just because a lot of the other Spider-Verse characters in this deck are not CMC1, so I couldn't build it that direction, but just keep that in note. It is Jund, 3 colorless, a black, a red, and a green for a 5/5 Menace Trample Haste. When Venom attacks, you may sack another creature. If you do, draw X cards and put a permanent with mana value X or less onto the battlefield, where X is the sacrifice creature's mana value. So, this is Reanimator through and through. Start with Agent Venom. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, draw a card and lose a life. So not only does it have flash, but we also get card draw out of it. Anger is just a great card for us to sacrifice or self-mill into the graveyard to give all of our stuff haste. We have some interesting enablers: Anti-Causal Vestige, Bygone Colossus, Diamond Weapon, Galta. We can make all of these Primeval Protector. We can make all of these creatures cost less based on what is going on in the game. And then basically we can get them out on the cheap, sack them with Venom's attack trigger, and then get an awesome 6-drop, 7-drop, 8-drop out of them afterwards, plus whatever they gave us on the way out. So for example, Anti-Causal Vestige, you can warp this for 4, so you're always going to warp it. So you're going to pay 4 mana to get out a 6 CMC creature. You're going to get its effect when it leaves the battlefield, and then you're also going to get Venom's trigger to put a 6-drop into play. Same idea with Bygone Colossus. You're going to warp this for 3 mana. You're going to sack it, and you're going to be able to get a 9-drop onto the battlefield, 9-drop or less. So that's your big enablers. That's what allows you to actually pull ahead and win the game in a deck like this. Getting out one of these guys, sacrificing them, and then following it up with a crazy card like Atali Primal Conqueror, for example. Atsushi, the Blazing Sky. So when it dies, keep in mind a lot of the creatures in here are going to have effects when they die, do something, or when they enter, do something. That way, whether or not we're sacrificing them or they're entering from Venom's trigger, either side of the fence, we're going to get a lot of synergy and a lot of bonuses from them. So exile top cards, play them, or create treasure tokens. Carnage, we can return cards from the graveyard. Atali we talked about. Diamond Weapon is another one of those enablers. Eternal Witness to get something back. Galta can be cheaper. Venom allows you to look at the top card of your library. Anytime you could play cards from the top of your library. If you cast a spell this way, pay mana rather than, or pay life rather than mana. So not super synergistic with the deck, but obviously is in Spider-Verse. Junji, again, look at that keyword. When it dies, do something. Kakusho, when it dies, do something. Lizard, other side of the fence. When it enters, you can basically turn a commander off, turn it into a lizard. Mayhem Devil is going to allow you to throw damage around as you're sacrificing. Just a good piece, allowing you to kind of pull ahead. Maren. So over the course of the game, if you get this out early, it's going to get experience counters, and then all of a sudden you're going to attack with Venom, sack something, put something else into play, go to the end of your turn, trigger Maren, get that original thing back, and at that point, all the wheels in the deck are all the wheels in your deck are turning, and you're just going off, and you're going to win the game. Metamorphosis Fanatic, one of my favorite reanimator pieces as of late. When it enters, it gets to bring something with it. Pitiless Plunder, when something dies, make treasure. Primeval we talked about, another piece that allows us to pull ahead by being able to cheat it out for cheap. Rakdos the Muscle, kind of a different version of Venom. So when it attacks, you can exile cards from the top of a library until next end step. You can play those cards, and then you can sack another creature to gain indestructible and tap it. So it's another way of you weaponizing, sacrificing stuff in order to pull ahead. Sakura Tribe Elder, the beginning of our 10 pieces of ramp in any base green deck that I highly recommend for you to have a consistent game every time you play. It's Sakura Tribe Elder, Cultivate, Kodama's Reach, Farseek, Nature's Lore, Rampant Growth, 3 Visits, Soul Rain, Felwar Stone, Arcane Signet, 10 up, 10 down. Highly recommend you start there and then build your deck out. Always start from the ground up. Make sure you have a good foundation. Sandman, you can get him back and a land out of your graveyard. Sephiroth, another way for you to weaponize sacrificing stuff. Vaultborn Tyrant allows you to bring stuff back, draw cards, gain life. Venom, not super synergistic, but if there is a creature in the graveyard we don't care about exiling, we can put a bunch of counters on this guy. Plus, obviously it's Venom, he's going to go in here. Alongside Venom, Eddie Brock. Whenever another creature dies, put a 1/1 counter on Venom. If that creature was a villain, draw a card. Not going to come up every single turn, but very synergistic, and it's a Venom. It's got to be in here. Sorceries, Behold the Sinister Six, just a multi-reanimate out of your graveyard. Blasphemous Act, one of our only pieces of board wipes here. More often than not, we're going to be the ones knocking, and people are going to have to board wipe us. Buried Alive, go get whatever the game calls for. Anger is probably always going to be one of the targets, but the other two is just going to be based on what you're feeling for that game. Decimate, probably the best removal in these two colors. You get a 4-for-1, an artifact, an enchantment, a creature, and a land. Hard to argue with the value that it provides. And at the end of the day, that is what Jund is really about. Living Death is our second quote-unquote board wipe. So if we've filled up our graveyard through self-mill, then this can be super one-sided, where everyone's losing their stuff and we're getting back a bunch. Reanimate, a one-off effect if you happen to mill over a Tali Primal Conqueror early in the game and reanimate back on like turn 3 or something, you're going to pull really far ahead, obviously, and become the villain. Venom's Hunger should always be costing you 2 less mana, so basically 3 mana to destroy a creature, you gain 2 life. This card's terrible, but I put it in here because it's Venom. Victimize, being able to sack a creature to get 2 back, pretty obvious why it's here. Instance, Dark Ritual as your secret, coveted, and best 11th piece of ramp. Being able to get Venom out 2 turns ahead of schedule is going to be amazing for you. Entomb, go get any specific creatures you want and put it in the graveyard. Probably going to be Anger. Grizzly Salvage for a little bit of self-mill, and then Heroic Intervention. In case you've gotten to the point where you don't care if your creatures die, but if your enchantments and your artifacts are in a good place, you've got them on the battlefield, your gears are turning, this can be utilized to save your board from like a Farewell or something crazy. Well, actually, Farewell is not going to work because it exiles, but something that destroys stuff. Austere Command, for example. Artifacts, Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots, pretty obvious why they should be here. You are going to win off one extremely powerful creature entering the battlefield 1, 2, or 3 times, and allowing it to have haste and be protected is going to be very important. Skull Clamp, a little bit more of a way to get card draw after the fact, so even though you're sacrificing a creature with Venom, you're still going to get cards from him and then get his trigger on top of that. Enchantments, more reanimation, Animate Dead, Journey to Eternity, and then we have card draw with Garrick's Uprising, Guardian Project, Riveteer's Ascendancy. Sneak Attack is a cool way to cheat a big creature out and then sacrifice them to Venom. Shadow of the Goblin allows you to discard and draw. Ripples of Undeath allows you to discard and draw. Riveteer is a reanimation. Rhythm of the Wild can make all your stuff uncounterable. We have Kraven's Last Hunt as some self-mill, and then finally Phyrexian Arena as a cheap and effective way to draw cards. Lands, as always, when it comes to any deck in Commander, I'm a big proponent of building based on your budget. Do whatever it takes to make the deck work. This is what I would probably build if I were to put the deck together, but if you don't have this budget, if you don't own these cards, do your best and upgrade it over time. I would say nothing here is extremely necessary. I did manage to put Daily Bugle building, Multiversal Passage in for some flavor, and then Phyrexian Tower is one of the better options in order to weaponize Sacrifice and get some mana out of it. But overall, I think this deck turned out super cool. Again, if you're interested or if you end up playing this deck for a while and realize you might want to look on the other side, I think Eddie Brock could be extremely fun. But for now, Lethal Protector is going to get you a lot of wins and for sure make you the villain at the table. So thank you all so much for watching. As always, Godspeed.